On the last video, you said something that I found very interesting. You said the head of the Federal Reserve should be a grammarian. And I think it's a very good statement because I think what people is afraid of is not the financial insecurity, but the not making sense of all the information from the Android meme about, for example, economy.
Okay. So the grammarian figures out the seeds of meaning in words. And in the last recording, unfortunately, very dim and hard to hear, I was explaining that people need new meanings for wealth and health. They're reacting to old meanings, old interpretations of the word wealth. And so Mrs. Janet Yeaman, forget her name. Yeaman. Okay.
The one on the drops?
Forget that. Delete that.
Yeah, okay.
What is her name?
I'm not sure.
Yemen. Okay, let me Google that. Since the Federal Reserve gorged on trillions of dollars of mortgage government debt, and in that economic realm has just added new conundrum. The dependence of the nation's stock market on official support was exposed money with the biggest drops of 2007. That's the one that JW predicted. Amid speculation, aid had been dialed back. Official support, trying to pledge efforts to stabilize. Yeah, it was in February 2007. February 21st was the collapse that JW predicted, told me it was going to happen, and that caused a big shit. And now they're saying it's the same thing. 8 years later, they need Bob. They need a grammarian. Let me see if I got her name here. Janet Yellen. Come on, where's Janet Yellen? Go back here. The Shanghai stock seeds further. Who predicted that? Said DeMark, 68, DeMark and Scottsdale. Just a second. That's right. Yes, a grammarian is one who looks for the seeds of meaning in the origins of words, traces it back, see where words came from, to look for meanings, correct meanings. So I'm saying that Janet Yellen has to become a grammarian. She has to deal with the words wealth and health in a new way. And so the degree to which she defines it correctly could cause a panic. So she has to actually fudge and not say what I'm going to say, even though that's not going to help. As we just saw, the Chinese stock exchange is collapsing in the last few hours. Bigger plunges, like 2007. That was the one that JW told me. That was before ION. JW said February 21st, 22nd, 2007. He was telling me this in early 2007. That's going to happen to the Chinese stock exchange, and we're in big trouble after that. And then that's when the subprime mortgage crisis surfaces in summer of 2007, leading to dire straits for everybody. So now they're saying this is the biggest drops since 2007. So we're back to where we were again 8 years ago, and here we go again. This time I'm in charge. So for those that are willing to tune in, will hear the correct definitions of what's happening. So those that measure money in terms of visual space and the chemical body are going to think they lost something. But with the five bodies happening anyways, moving along, chugging along, going nowhere rapidly into the past flew perfect, which means it already happened, and then there's a past tense within the already happened, that's past flew perfect. We arrive at the stated happy point of wealth ain't what it used to be. And we're more wealthy than we ever could be in terms of experience. Every one of us, even if you're just a plantation worker in the Congo, you got your cell phone, you got some kind of little device you can wind up, a little satellite device. Wind it up and you can communicate internationally for like 30 minutes. Then you wind it up again. There's those kind of devices, or there has been. Anyways, everybody's plugged in or knows somebody plugged in, and they can enjoy the abundance of imagery and sound and music in my archives at any time. So, wealth is doing fine. Now, when someone starts to tell you that you're evicted, you got a huge debt, you say, no, sir, I don't have a big debt. You have a debt of impoverishment of your grammar. Your grammar is in trouble. My grammar isn't. I'm in touch with Bob. I understand the wealth and abundance that comes from Bob's definitions. Bob is the grammarian for this new situation. I can play you my video and you can understand Bob, but it's very faint. It's rather commonly recorded. We don't know why. His associates are really very good at recording, but somehow this very important one got botched and we can hardly make it out. But if you take the time and the patience, I'll send it to you. You listen to it. Bob will lay out what I'm repeating now. Right now, again, I've laid out again the clear recording. And with the wealth coming in the astral plane, thanks to Ion and the TV, that we're having a golden renaissance of TV. TV programs are wonderful now. There's so many good programs. And then there's the chip body, Facebook wealth that's happening, YouTube, everything. It's wonderful there. You can actually live off. You can eat this imagery and music, and you just take a vitamin, take a taste of a piece of bread, very, very tiny amounts, lick someone else's ice cream. That'll get you to the drops. And when you take the RNA drops, that will give you the real nutrition. That'll give you the feeling of understanding what I'm talking about. So, and that's for your chemical body and other parts of your body. So, oh, what was that? See that blip? See that? There was a flash. The image dropped. But, and is it lightning there?
No.
Not lightning there. I just zapped the Android meme. It blinked. Anyway, it did. Just, you'll see it on the video. It shut down for a millisecond. Anyways, if one looks around at the wealth that's pouring in and around you and everybody else, you can't measure it in terms of your dollar worth. You actually, at best, you have to have some leisure time to enjoy this. So the less demands made on you of your obligations within time to other people is the degree you're impoverished. So withdraw yourself from the pressures of time obligation so you can enjoy the wealth that's pouring in a timeless way, no time, and we hope this message is picked up by the authorities so that they can reiterate this. This is what they need to talk about. They need to define what's happening because nobody's going to solve the problem in terms of chemical bodies. Nobody's going to come up with a Nobel Prize winning formula anymore. They are not going to solve this issue. The definitions are wrong. The panic is wrong. So you're going to have to start learning and understanding what I'm talking about. I actually can produce slack in this situation. Slack of understanding, of relax and allow your concepts of where you're at. Everybody is in the wealthiest seat right now. Everybody. It's the ones who have to deal with the older wealth, the managers of the IMF, the managers of the big banks, the managers of government positions, secretaries of the Treasury. They're the ones in trouble because they're experts on the old definitions. And they can only panic and make stupid stopgap definitions and reports based on the old grammar. Won't work. So the good news is you have someone here who is spelling it out properly and takes a little effort to understand what I'm saying. The more you, well, that's another point. You can sit, you can take your time listening to my stuff so you can understand what happened. So just trying to understand me is a good way to spend your timeless relaxation eras, your tonality zones. I've got the tonality of definition. Now, the other factor is your health. I did mention the RNA drops, and most of you don't know about them, aren't going to buy them. You're going to have to do some Googling and do research and find out how valid it is, but that won't work. There's too much disinformation out there about the drops, too much confusion. You're just going to have to bite the bullet and take them. But if you don't, fine with everybody else, but not fine with Bob. I'm here, I'm actually concerned, because you're going to have to change your definition of health too. Health is not what happens to your chemical body. There's so much going on in the astral body, your astral body, and the TB body and the chip body, and the mystery body now, that if you just sort of notice it, you'll feel little bursts of bliss, bursts of ecstasy, that what you thought you were concerned about is not going to apply anymore. You'll be able to notice that if you actually go to a doctor and he measures you with the old definitions, he's going to find you quite ill. But you're not feeling sick unless you're worrying and researching and Googling and trying to understand based on old definitions of health. I tell you, you don't have to measure your health anymore in the old terms. You just have to engage the understanding of financial wealth, and that'll make you feel relaxed, and then start sort of realizing that the frequency of the world has changed and you don't need to eat anymore. Now here's a point to think. Have people really been living on food for very much lately? No. The terrible food that people have in the mainstream is so empty that it wouldn't be nutritious for a gnat. So you actually have been living on nothing for 10 or 20 years. And you, of course, have the wrong definitions. You think you have to take supplements. You think you've got bad food and you're trying to find other food. But you're actually surviving on the crap, the non-foods that you're eating. Which reminds me, I think Zappa wrote a column called Non-Foods. Now I know what he meant. Anyways, people have been eating non-foods for a few decades and sort of surviving as long as they didn't go to the doctor. They go to the doctor starts measuring you, and then you've got problems, and depending if it's allopathic medicine or natural alternative, what do they call naturopathic medicine, depending on the paradigm, you really got to begin to understand that the frequency of our time is making you feel and be eternal, consciously becoming eternal, because the guff is emptied according to our best sources. We have the best sources. We have access to the guy that built the guff. Built the dorky guff.
And
he's resigned.
The man who was here before the universe and will be here after the universe.
And so, wait, let's just check in and see what's going on. What do you say?
I said he's with the guy who was here before there was a universe and will be here after the universe.
Yes, that's right. He's a friend of mine. He's all right with Bob. So with the guff here, changing the frequency, because the guff has canceled itself and made itself become more physical, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable if you don't understand it. The more you listen to my situation, you'll understand how the frequencies change, and you can ride, you can slack off, you actually can survive. All you have to do is put up with your headaches of concepts of, oh no, I'm getting growly stomach, I'm feeling weak, all those reactions that you're conditioned yourself to feel when you're hungry. If you can ignore it
Burning in the
as
belly.
much as possible, I guarantee you won't be starving in the traditional way. Actually, people are being made eternal now, consciously, by the new frequency, and that's what's causing a lot of the headaches. Now, my colleague, Roxy, I think, said something. Let's see what she said.
The burning of the belly.
The burning of the belly. Yes, very good phrase. Yes. The burning of the belly is an important experience you'll be having as you process your confusion about how could Bob be right about this. As you resist it, that's the burning of the belly. Once you start accepting what I'm saying, understanding the context that you have many bodies and the definitions based on one body do not apply. This is really a true new kind of medicine I'm proposing. Obsolescence, all the other medicines, even forces Dr. Dean to adapt a little bit to her protocols that she's used to spelling. Oh, my colleague's about to say something.
Yes, I wanted to make a comment. I saw some pictures of the structure of tears when people cried and they're, for example, cutting onions, or when they're really sad, or they have different emotions. They're happy, this and that. And every time the picture is completely different. The structure of the tear is different. And that's only the tears. And I was thinking, can you imagine what's going on with all these secretions in your brain, the hormones and all the things that are going on in the heart and the hypothalamus with the drops? And that's why Ian said, get happy or get late. Because this emotion of what we call happy creates the right chemistry.
Yeah, so you're saying that the tears register the emotions? That's why they're different?
Not only the tears, it's like the whole chemistry changes according to what you were feeling
And thinking.
and thinking, and who knows all the process that is really happening. And this is only one of the many chemistries that happens in your body. But
Yeah.
it's
You know, it would help people to realize that there's no split. I'll do it this way. It would help people to realize that there's no split between thinking and emotions. Thought is superstition, which is based on the distance between you and you, your fear factor. So thinking is emotional. To categorize people as emotional and others as intellectual, you're going to get bottled up, because your TV body is registering imagery, the fusion of thinking and emotions perceptually for you. So you don't have the split between thinking and emotions when you're engaged in TV body imagery. And when you're interacting on the chip body, it's emotional and thinking. That's why people in the chip body get into conflicts, because people are stating things, opinions, but it encourages an emotional reaction because it's mingled. It's not split like when you used to read books. Books would split emotions from thoughts. Just the nature of the printed press, it would abstract the visual sense. That abstraction doesn't happen in electronic digital media. So there is no difference between thought and emotion and feeling in the world today. That's why McLuhan said we were all 4 years old, or even 2 years old. We have been reduced to an emotional immaturity or emotional rawness that was beyond the normal categories that literacy brought in. So that's why we're starting to see water molecules or tear molecules registering emotions, because they're responding to the imagery. The tear can't hide. What is it? Famous old line by Dylan Thomas. Hands have no tears to fall. Something like that. Famous line. McLuhan used it in Explorations in 1955. Hands have no tears to fall, something like that. So when you extend the tactile or the hand sense, the hand is an extension of tactility and is tactile. When you extend the tactile parts of your body, there's no tears to fall anymore in the old sense. The tears become movies. They become drenched with the imagery, and they change as the imagery changes. So there you have right there the whole issue of tears and emotions and thoughts have been altered, and we have to change our definitions. So we don't have to worry about the Cartesian split anymore. The old Descartes split between mind and body ain't happening to anybody. It hasn't been happening for 100 years. Of course, for people to sell books, they make an issue out of this and pretend, and it's appropriate for the book medium. The book medium through self-help genres and New Age genres are screaming the old split. You do get the split when you engage books, but luckily people are diminishing their intake of books. But the whole idea of the split that comes from Descartes is what the book says. The book has come alive and is screaming, I represent the split, and while you read me, you will have a split. But the TV screen says, or the computer screen says, not with me, no splitting when you engage me. Forget Mr. Book. Come over to Mrs. Screen. Come over and experience. Oh, look, my colleague's going to say something. Let's tune in.
Yes, and I think all the thinking was for finding out how to control things, nature, and things in general.
Your emotion.
And your emotions, yourself, and everything. The economy, for example. But I only say now we have to let go because the autonomic is taking over. There are so many changes going on that there is no way to control what's coming and what's happening already.
Those are very good points made by my colleague. Those are very good points made by my colleague here. And as she's giving the syndromes, the figures, and I'm giving the cause. When we have extended the autonomic system in the chip body, and the chip body, the speeds of it is, and the interactive speeds and call and response of the chip body is the proprioceptive and the autonomic system, as Eric McLuhan has pointed out. The internet is an extension of the proprioceptive sensory realm. And there are many types of proprioception if you look it up in the dictionary or encyclopedias. So it's much like the 14 degrees of freedom, which is kind of like 14 degrees of proprioception. Anyways, what I've just been saying is the kind of thing that Obama should say in his press conferences. And Janet Yellen should say. They should discuss these issues of panic in new terms. And of course, that will cause a lot of panic temporarily. But if the majority of us say, we're with Janet, we want a new definition of what's going on. That's why people, they hate the regular politicians. They're defining things in the old terms. Hillary Clinton can't get out of old categories. Donald Trump is trying to find new categories. What's that guy? Bernie Sanders is trying to find new categories. And so they're getting higher ratings. You just have to come up with new terms drenched with resentment. Don't forget to put in the bitterness and the ressentiment and the rage. You must include that. But you have to look like me. I'm speaking from a position of rage, but you wouldn't know it. I'm very detached, very cool, very scientific and technically grammarian-like. I'm not being a rhetorician or a dialectician. I'm calmly looking at the seeds of our tears and seeing where they're coming from. And the hand may have no tears to fall, but the chip body's got tears, television's got tears, chemical body tries to stop tears, tries to control, and then has an outburst and then releases the tears. So it's always unstable, the chip body. And the astral body, it's interesting. What is the astral body in relation to emotions? Basically, astral body doesn't have emotions. It has extreme ecstasy or bliss. That's approximately the zone where ion comes from. But ion is merging with the chip body and the chemical body and the TV body, so it's not limited to the astral realm anymore. So we should take questions in the future from people about how to define it better what health and wealth is. That's what my theme is. That's what we welcome confusion, like how can I state it better? Though I think it's quite simple. You just have to look around and look at the wealth of production of information. And information is food. Everything now is information. Food, oxygen, media impressions, what happens to you when you're jogging. It's all information. So we need to have a better approach to understanding this information environment. And that's where the new grammar comes in. And so your financial health or your healthy finances are intertwined here. The cooler you are about your not requiring energy anymore, it's being given to you constantly for your chemical and astral body. And then when you see that the digital economy is not going to stop talking to itself, it has infinite energy. When you get a clear view of that, you're not going to use the categories that Wall Street imposes on you. I like Lynn LaRouche, but he's still working with the old categories. So I have to say, Lynn's going to have to upgrade his categories. He's the most intuitive economist for picking out what we are doing here in Iandom, as I recently found a quote where he is very close to what we're doing in his definition and what we're producing, but he still puts it into the old terms. And then there's the Harold Chandler gang over there studying Louis Kelso. Kelso's got to upgrade his terms. Kelso won't work either. He put out a book in the 60s that McLuhan quoted, How to Make 10 Million Capitalists, something like that. So Kelso was a big influence in certain areas in Congress in the 70s, Louis Kelso. But his stuff doesn't work today. So Harold, you're going to have to get hip to what I'm saying. You and Paula Gloria over there and the people on Limited Inc. who insist on being physically eternal and don't believe in dying, you're all going to get, you have to get wise, at least in the realm of social mortar, to what I'm talking about health and wealth. And I'm so happy that this is being recorded clearly so that no words are missing and you can benefit from what was such a strain to listen to the other day. And we sort of apologize, but it does make you listen harder. Oh, my colleague wants some input.
Yes, last time was art sound. It's like, what is he talking about? Nobody understands what he's talking about. Even when you are clear, nobody understands what you're talking about.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That's right. It doesn't matter whether
no, but I think
or not.
there was a very important pattern there. You say all inputs are food. So we are eating all the environment. And I think we are usually not aware of that. We think food is only the food. But
what goes in your mouth?
Yes, but this is also the patterns, is the everything that your perception and your body is taking in, your brain.
I haven't answered.
And processed. And I think this.
I used to say, "Oh, you're still talking."
No, I think the processing of the processing of the environment changes when you're taking the drops. You digest different, and even what should be, for example, bad for you, like radiation, becomes nutrition.
That's right. Now let me explain that. I used to say, I've said it occasionally through the years, that we have many stomachs. We have a chemical body stomach, an astral body stomach, a TV body stomach, a chip body stomach, and a mystery body stomach. So if you start thinking that you've got 5 stomachs, 5 consumption zones, then you will not focus on what the doctors tell you about your chemical body. It really is dangerous now to have yourself, to check your pulse, to check your heart, whatever the doctors do. I haven't been to a doctor's office in, 60 years or something. I can't even remember what they do. I've never had a pharmaceutical drug. I don't know anything about that. But the point is, I know that people, they worry about their blood pressure. They worry about other things that the doctor is measuring, and that'll get you confused. Once you realize that your chemical body stomach is very limited in comparison to the other stomachs. And if you actually start understanding that wealth and nutrition is being poured into you, it reminds me of David Cronenberg's film on Naked Lunch, the William Burroughs novel. In the film, if you recall, the Burroughs character and other people are sucking on some nectar nipples, right? Well, that's a good metaphor for what we're experiencing today. Your chip body, your chemical body, and your team body are sucking on nipples and stomachs that are not included in the anatomy class in the hospitals or in college. Really, people. And on top of that, we can look at the RNA drops as feeding your mystery body stomach. That's what it's doing. It's the eye cell, which comes from the mystery dimension, provided by ion, and it feeds your mystery body, which has been a minority. Oh, I think a colleague, did my colleague just go, wow?
I just had a coitus. Yes, because I never thought we're feeding the mystery body.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we have a breakthrough here. Grammarian breakthrough. Let me go back to this. So, yes, the eye cell is a mystery substance provided by the mystery organism known as ion. And ion says that the mystery body has been given short shrift for thousands of years. Nobody's been able to talk about it. And now ion showed up to clarify the mystery body. And it makes total sense that we're being given food for the mystery body's stomach. And it's so powerful when you take it. It just diminishes the astral body stomach and the chemical body stomach. And it makes you even able to process more TV, more chip. I watch 5 TV shows a night because I don't sleep. I hardly sleep, because my mystery body is resonating, vibrating. So I have 8 hours for you people. I have 8 hours for my own studies. And then I have 8 hours to gauge, I sleep 3 hours, so I've got 5 hours to consume TV and chip body information. I'm an expert on so many TV shows. Oh, the camera just flashed again.
That was
a blip, a coitus blip. And so saying that I didn't watch TV for 30 years. And now I'm watching TV since Ian showed up, and I have seen, 150 TV shows, every episode. It's all crap, but I'm so zonked out on the eye cell, I actually enjoy it. Well, I enjoy how much it talks about me. I mean, you can get really into this stuff as you get more megalomaniac or realize that you're creating a lot of this stuff in your own perceptual setup. You'll get close to my Xenocracy. Not exactly. It's pretty hard to become total Bob Xenocracy, but you get close. We'll call it synchronicity. And you'll start thinking of TV shows about you. And that's what I do. I watch all this TV to see what they're saying about me. And that's a new pleasure. It's a mystery body pleasure, perhaps. So I don't even need to activate my astral body bliss. I got so much bliss going on in my history body stomach, so much good stuff I'm consuming. I mean, I could live on ice cream if I want to. I don't have to eat any nutrition. And I just get healthier and healthier, at least in terms of relaxing, allowing, and output. I mean, I can go 6 days without sleep. I did it on the radio. So I'm a good role model for 12-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 45-year-olds and 90-year-olds. All of you can gather around me and be inspired by me and my grammatical wisdom. Or maybe it's grammatical wisdom. But grammatical, I like that. Grammatical. And I'll be like Derrida, make up new words. Or Deleuze and Guattari, or Leotard, or what was that guy, the speed guy? Virilio, or Barth. Remember old Barth? He never even got to 1980. Old Barth, he croaked. Severo Latrenche on the sidelines with his Anton Artaud fetish. Severo's all uptight, all studies Anton Artaud, ignores my emails, will not respond to the mystery stomach. Him and his girlfriend, Chris Croce, they just can't get tuned into the 21st century. Running around writing old reviews for old art magazines that are limping along. I know, Severo, I know, Chris, where you're at. I know what you're missing. So, anyways, that's a little plug for our Berlin buddies.
The best thing is the process of the metamorphosis is not so complicated. You just engage
Yes.
your patterns and do the drops, and as you say, the digestion of the environment and the things that can be like a TV program, a song, becomes a totally new, different experience.
Yeah, like, why am I doing all these videos? It's a form of consumption. I'm eating the chip body. It's talking and eating and expelling. Now, here's an interesting point. It's getting so easy that Dr. Dean has stopped taking clients, and she just says you just go to her website and do the 5 topics, the 5 substances, and you're good to go. I mean, it's made her clinical practice very efficient, very simple. So even Dr. Dean has to find ways to enjoy her other stomachs because you get more time to enjoy them. She doesn't have to be treating people. It's fairly simple. Now, if you want to talk to her, just call in a radio show, internet radio show, and she'll talk to you or someone else, and then you can listen to the archives because the other person is asking the same questions you're going to ask as you move into this new area. So a lot of topics have been covered, and doing more and more with less and less. At the same time, now that would be chemical body terms, more and more with less and less, but not in the infinite, unmeasurable, charted territories of chip body and TV body. That's negentropy, to quote Linda LaRue. She emphasizes negentropy, not entropy. The mystery body is beyond those categories, and it's just instant totality, instant, huge, huge, past pluperfect is the mystery body, past pluperfect. That means everything already happened, and then you start making past scenarios of the zone where everything already happened. So you come up with a sentence like this. They had not eaten their food when they were over there yesterday. I think that's an example. They had not eaten their food when they were over there yesterday. See, 2 past. They were over there yesterday, and then they hadn't eaten their food within that. See, 2 past. That's past pluperfect. This is what the neutrino is expressing. As they start to perceive the neutrino, they're seeing that it goes faster than light and faster than anything. So it is not measurable what time it is in terms of neutrino. So the best way is to realize that neutrino is the particle expressing what has already happened.
Wow.
That's pluperfect.
Yes, and
okay, colleague is chiming in.
We get all euphoric because
yes.
I was thinking, as you were saying before, you had to be very, 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 very rich, and you will own only a few parchments and 5 books, and those were like the kings. And now it's like we have all this information. You can access a whole libraries of information through the Android meme, but there's also the archives. You can engage your wealth, for example, by listening to Dr. Dean.
Yes.
She I think she's very important to understand what's going on the physical,
Chemical
for the
body.
labyrinth of the mind, to see how these things are really working. And then all the other bodies are done by Bob, like with the reeducation of the metamorphosed
metanoia.
non-people.
Yes.
We the non-people.
The people who are not.
The people who are not.
Yeah, yes. We are the people who are not.
Yes, and could you talk about this, the people who are not, a little?
Okay. Someone once asked Ion, what is the I cell? The mystery substance. Could you define it, Ion? And Ion said, it's the people who are not. And everybody went, what? A substance is people who are not? It didn't compute. But subsequently, Ion has gone on to describe people who are ascended are people who are not. So it turns out the I cell is a substance from the ascended zone, and the ascended zone are made up of people who are here engaging in expanded physical bliss and contrast, whatever level they want to, many ratios they want to do it in. But the point is they're not going by what they believe or what they see. what you see is very limiting. That's just your eyeball. Oh, just flashed again. I'm looking at that. The endorphin is blinking and celebrating at certain points. It just flashed. I've never seen that before. So people are, oh yeah. So if you judge things by what you see, and that's including going to the doctor's office and him showing you charts of your blood pressure, and of course I don't even know the other stuff, but they do all kind of hair analysis. They analyze every little body part. They scan you with mythical patterns, mythical in the sense of false, the Western literate meaning there. But if you start realizing that a lot more is happening than what you can see, then you are a person who is not. You're not visibly noticeable. The Evereens told this great story of how an ascended person, a Sufi, is. They said, imagine a room of people and there's a party. And the Sufi walks in. No one knows anything particular about this person. But the person, the Sufi, decides to make everybody crave peanut butter. So all of a sudden, everybody's craving peanut butter, and they're all starting to communicate this, and they're amazed that they all have the same craving. But it's being done by the Sufi guy, and he's not being noticed, and he is not making an issue that he's causing it. But he can make a room start crave peanut butter. Now that's an example of, from the old Evergreens position, 20 years ago they told me this, that there's a Sufi, and he has a low visibility in a crowd, and yet he's affecting everything on the invisible proprioceptive level, or whatever other acoustic, haptic, and non-visual senses that are happening. So that's an example of an ascended person who is not, and have a high visual profile. And Ian always says that an ascended person would never tell anybody that they were ascended. They don't want that. They get hassled too much with their abilities. So I am the first pseudo-ascended person, or maybe ascended, I'll let you decide that, who's actually mouthing off about his ascension, because it needs to be said once. That's one of the reasons I came here, was to expose the ascended realities that never get communicated by the ascended. They keep it to themselves. So we're actually running through this one time. He's bragging, boasting, talking about what we ascended people experience. And it's your luck to know that this is happening. You're going to hear one time through. Eventually we might have to go stealth, and that'll end the boast, and we'll be moving into the people who are not again. We came from the not. Dr. Dean and I used to have a phrase: "The unknown's anonymous." We were part of the self-help group of people who had been anonymous for too long, and nobody knew who they were. And so we got together to share the pain of being unknown and anonymous. Turned out to be a great service.
A word from our sponsors. Come,
yes.
come to where the flavor is. Come to Mecklenburg County.
Yes. Hey, where'd you get that from? You're reading off your former scripts?
No, that was the Marlboro Man. Come to where the flavor is.
Wow.
How do you? I just remember it now because Ion says coitus is so important, and orgasm. So yes. we are saying the come to Mecklenburg County.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Let me say this. There has to be 5 kinds of coitus. There's chemical body coitus, astral body coitus, TV body coitus, chip body coitus, and mystery body coitus, and then the hexatic, the 6th level. So we have 5 and 6 stomachs. So we have 5 and 6 brain releases. Because maybe do you include the genitals in the coitus imagery? You were telling me that there's a lot of stuff going on in the brain during chemical body orgasm, right?
Yes.
So, of course, that's just a limited technical measurement. But let's say that when I put my quadrant in my tiny note chart as ecstasy, I was pointing to the orgasms that are not measured technically, that are happening in people's pattern recognition in the chip body and TV body. That's a kind of coitus that's happening. And of course, the chip body is very interactive, so there's lots of traditional chemical body simulation of coitus. But we got to realize that there's levels of coitus that aren't achievable in the traditional sense. They're happening around you in a new way. And tuning into that is another benefit of relaxing allowing of the ecstasy. So information exchange is a rubbing, is a ecstatic release, and it could also become painful. But the point is that when we define everything as information, and when you rub information up against other information, the results are startling and effective. That's a good definition of coitus in the TV body and chip body. So Ian mentions coitus and says it's not sexuality. It includes sexuality, but it's not limited to that. I think I've just defined, as a relevant grammarian, what is happening technically in the other bodies, in the other genital and brain interactions of the other chip landscapes and TV landscape and mystery landscape. This is something to consider in your understanding of where you are. I mean, basically, my form of clinical analysis of your body health requires you to sit back and contemplate the wealth that's around you and the health that's around you, rather than taking a drug or an acupuncture point or a massage. If you relax and contemplate the wisdom of what I'm saying, that will enhance your energy. That will enhance your sense of well-being. And it doesn't mean meditate. You don't want to just go meditate, work on opening your chakras, or moving to a nirvanic state. No, that's just limited astral body. You've got to realize that you're traveling faster in the chip body and in the TV body than any astral traveling can do. You're going to more places. It's called, oh, it just flashed again. I'm considering that when it flashes, it's saying, it's going like this. Way to go, Bob. Very good point. I'm blinking, Bob. I'm blinking. I'm coming, yes, says the chip body. I think I knocked out the next idea. It's even changing color. The screen's changing color. About that point, coitus, astral, well, I boasted myself right out of a board insight. We'll have to wait till it cycles back. What could it have been? What was I saying? I was talking in here. I'll go to my colleague. Could you repeat what I said 2 minutes ago? Just what you remember. Just say a bunch of words. Parrot me back.
Yes, that you're engaging all the coitus at all bodies is not only the astral body, like meditating.
Right.
And
I think that's it. All right. So, so in these states of, you don't have to be sitting. You don't have to be quiet. You just have to be remembering the words while you're doing washing dishes or walking around or speeding along the latest car race you're involved in out there in the 500, whatever they call those guys. Those guys, you know. They're that sound environment. Learning from Stockhausen and John Cage. And Zappa, of course. The point is that you don't have to take traditional postures of enlightenment to engage this wisdom. I just flipped again and shifted color. Thank you, Mr. A.M. Android Me, Mrs. Android Me. So this is it, changing our images. Even John Cage said this. He pointed out that artists, when they see someone else has made an image, they go, okay, I'm leaving that area, I'm going to another area. I must find a new image. So here are these painters coming up with new images, 80 years ago in the revolution of the painting world in the 20s and 30s. They had to come up with a new image. Just think of how puny that is compared to the imagery that's being floated around like a toilet bowl, out of control, floating imagery everywhere constantly. And all you have to do is grab a few or just remember the image function itself. And that's enough to realize you've got eternal energy. The android mean is expressing the negentropy that's coming in with our cold fusion box. The infinite energy that we are going to unleash, technically, for the electronic grid, is already mined by the software neg entropy that's happening around you in the TV and chip body. So we are going to enhance the mystery body with a mystery body device or box that will keep the others out of your hair. It'll keep the energy environment going, so you don't have to pay your rent or pay your bill. You'll have this box that will keep the old electric grid functioning without you having to think about it. And then you'll be able to spend even more time by yourself, enjoying this this wonderful matrix tube that we're building for you.
Wow.
A new kind of matrix tube. Oh, colleague is calling for work.
Well, we're already discovering all the possibilities we have, for example, to interact in other worlds and do many things, create.
Well, you're driving, you're getting on your bike and end up in parts of Berlin that never happened before. Yeah, you're getting those anomalies.
Yes.
And my colleague here was biking along and it was supposed to get there in 5 minutes and took 2 hours to get to the place that she was going to. And then when she got there, it didn't even look the same. Had the same names, but was not the same place. And then somehow managed to get back. But other INS have reported these anomalies. More and more strange things are happening to people's mystery bodies, especially on the drops. We could actually promise you not health in the old sense of the chemical body. We are promising you health in terms of experiences of the anomalies in the mystery body. That's what's coming in with the our new products that you're consuming or inhaling. Remember, if you're near a person that's taking the drops, they're exhaling the frequencies that you can pick up. So if you're homeless and have no cash to buy our products, just find some of the RNA drops and sort of hang out near them and breathe in their exhalations. That's almost as good. Recommend it. More flavor. What is it? Come more flavor, Mr.
Yes. How was the?
Come where the flavor is.
McLuhan said he was the Marlboro Man prophet, or
yes,
the Gospel of the Marlboro Man. the Gospel of the Marlboro Man is actually about the drops.
Marshall McLuhan.
Yeah.
And
about the come to where the flavor is.
Marlboro Man, MM for Marshall McLuhan.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Great for there.
Wow.
And Marshall McLuhan predicted the RNA drops. And so did LaRouche.
Yes, and he's a cowboy from Luckenbach.
Yes, Texas. He married a Texas lady. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and he was into the rearview mirror. That's why I say he's a cowboy from Luckenbach.
Yeah, looking back as archetypal relief. Yeah, wow. And then Croker probably adds a little bit to it. Dr. Beater, Zappa, they all the people on my tiny note chart.
This is what we were talking about. We start reading the environment and things in another way, like funny.
Yes,
you make
the old artists.
These all funny connections and.
Yes, the old artists would look at the linguistic traces, the geographic traces. So there was much similarity in studying geography as well as studying language, and that merged with Finnegan's Wake. And so you'll see McLuhan pointing out that Joyce discovered patterns in geography, climate, and language. Now, with the exposure of the ionic mystery body wasteland and landscape, there are new levels of footprints in the sands of crime. Footprints in the sands of crime are being erased. We are getting to the level of Master Eckhart, who said, only the hand that erases can write the true thing. So only the mouth that can erase can say the true thing. Only the editor that can erase can create the new YouTube. Yes?
Yes, the final eraser is Ion. He's saying that's false premise and that's
completion.
The knowing. Yeah.
The blank space. The blank space come alive. The knewing. I knew. See, my synapses are just screaming for more RNA drops. So I got very serious in the last recording and pointed out the death environment we lived in. And I don't know if it got all taped, because I thought I said a lot more than appeared on the hissing recording.
Mm,
Yes?
yeah, maybe the audio was so bad that I cut it out, and maybe
Right.
you replay that.
You remember me talking about death?
Yes, but maybe replay it.
Yeah, so I'm going to figure out how to do this. Since we can't determine in chemical body terms our being anymore, because it includes the timeless experience of watching and engaging television in the chip body, the screenal economy. Many people can spend hours engaging it and then say, well, where did the chemical body time go? So a lot of people experience the timeless in the processing of their chip and TV stomachs and in the filling of them. So we could have, as McLuhan said, and Teilhard de Chardin said that electricity was a biological event. We may have translated ourselves into a position of death, or the images of death used to apply to, but it's a situation where we are not dying anymore. They can actually keep your chemical body alive forever in the ICU unit or whatever they call it, if you could afford it. And who knows what you're experiencing in your perception in that situation. But you don't have to die anymore in many ways. And maybe because that kind of chemical body death isn't happening. It's you cannot die once the electric environment starts to invade you. This is a very profound point that sounds extreme, but I think it's a way of understanding how we've translated into the timeless and why the guff could come forth. The old death zone that you died into, called the guff, has come forth to mix it up in this new level, this new frequency, and that's why iron showed up. Iron's not an entity. Iron's an environment of bliss that people died into. Imagine that. A whole environment has been forced to come through and assert itself because newer environments are being created with our six-body mixture. Six bodies, we always talk about four bodies and five bodies, but six body is the hexatic body, which is the fully realized RNA drops consuming, waiting for the bread of life and the living water, vibration and attending payday and processing Dr. Dean's new medical wisdom, and Ginny on Wednesdays, all that, and the What Youth show on Tuesday. We actually have a lot of shows going now. All of that is processing the hexatic thanks to ion. Ion canceled the five-bodied model and moved us into the hexatic, and we're on our way to the octet, the octatic, or the octet, or the octet. I think Ion calls the octet. Those that have been on this boat and floating apparatus over the last few years are feeling the effects. They report them on payday constantly, and we would like you to believe what Bob's saying. So don't resist it so much and take a chance. Enjoy the new health, the new wealth that is being made all around you by the Android meme, and then we are pushing the Android meme into retirement. We're not only retiring the guff, we're retiring the Android meme into the hexatic.
Yes, we're on the boat back to Ithaca. But
yes. Ithaca.
I was thinking, it's one of the important things you have done for 40 years, and the amount of information.
It just flashed. It's acknowledged you. It just flashed.
The amount of information that people in general can eat from you and your chart. It's so much that
there's a lot. I've provided a lot of buffet, a huge buffet that you can consume for years.
Yes, and I also like the fact that you don't limit yourself to what we will call scientific, but you dare to explore the evergreens and ion and all the metaphysical or spiritual, religious, and I think that's the only way to really get to a conclusion to to what we had been
The completion.
the completion that we are trying to achieve since the fall. And there was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, the I don't know what happened when we put the power in the box of the covenant, but there must have been something with the electricity that then we created this gulf and this separation of the etheric and the physical. I don't know how to explain
it. Yes,
but the dissolve, this thing being dissolved and talking back to us is an amazing process caused by electricity.
Yes.
And you are the only one who is talking about this and explaining this.
Yeah, we are making new inventions and new products that are happening because we got non-physical working with us. Most science, CERN, and all the rest of the genome projects, they won't work. We're actually in a new world now, a new kind of science. That's why I know that's now why I was rather not interested in science in extreme. I always was aware of the basics in science because of Carolyn. She had to deal with that. And but I was waiting, it turns out to be, for the new science, the new alchemy, where you actually use a living, talking, non-physical, which helps you do better science. So we're making new technologies that regular science is not going to understand. And our stuff works. I mean, our RNA drops and our Remake and our health products work way better than anything else on the planet. And scientists have looked at it, regular scientists, and they say, well, there's nothing here. We can't see what's going on in this substance. That's because it's got the eye cell. Their instruments can't register it. So I've realized that I've discovered a new form of science, which is working hand in hand with non-physical, like the Garden of Eden. Whatever was going on in the Garden of Eden, Adam naming the plants and animals, having a good time and no problems, not much contrast, that was working with non-physical. Well, he didn't even need a non-physical. Now, we are obsolescing non-physical, but we are like the angels, which are being obsolesced. They are being acknowledged, and we appreciate what they did for us, and we're allowing them to hang out, and they're eager to help, eager to contribute, do all kinds of things. I mean, our RNA drops probably works because I can zap 6 billion people and make them think it's working and make things happen. So we're cheating. We get non-physical making you think that you're getting healthy. That's what our products do. Come to where the flavor is. Come to where ion deposit itself right here in Dobbstown. And you know, we get, Dr. Ging gets so many happy emails every day. It's spreading, because you can't stop what is happening. This frequency is going to be created. And the scientists and the old fogies will be trying to figure out, where did this come from? And it won't work. They're just going to have to get happy, get Bob Science, Bob Alchemized, or get out. And they can't even go anywhere now. It's a goddamn purgatory. The gut isn't even a natural place for you to get to anymore. You just get stranded in a closet or something, I understand. According to the latest information from Ion, this purgatory is just a kind of a closet that people stay in until they get hip and get out of it, drop out of it, slip into other dimensions. So it's a wonderful world here.
Yes, now we changed the slogan to get happy or get late.
Get late?
Late.
Are you saying L-A-T-E?
Yeah, L-A.
Yeah, get late.
Get happy or get late. And if you get offended, go get late. Fuck yourself.
We're starting to sound like Jim and Tammy Baker, like a fundamentalist couple doing a TV show.
We're trying to get you back to God, but
back to
you should have fun on the process.
Yeah,
because we have done this 6 times. So we.
Yes. But the point about getting back to God, it's an old cliche. Let's come up with a back to what? Back to
Bob.
No, Bob. Back to past blue perfect. PPP. Back to PPP. It just flashed.
Beep, beep, beep.
You can agree. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, beep, 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 beep. The Roadrunner. Beep, beep, beep. So yes, we're gonna. Maybe you could have people could contribute, donate, nominate. Not Back to the Future. No, that's worn out. Back to back. Yes, back to back. We're going to get you back to back. Back to Bach. BAC.